Sally is 45 with a husband and two primary school aged children. She also works and is the typical busy mom with hardly a moment to spare for herself. And of course, she's got thousands of photos on her mobile phone and on her computer. She also has some printed photos from her childhood, some in albums and some loose in boxes, plus a couple of boxes she has inherited from her parents. When her children were born, she wanted to do baby books for them, but that never happened. She's dreaming of doing an annual photo book for the family, but she finds this is even harder to achieve. She has lost some photos due to a hard drive failure, but still has no backup system in place. Every year, she intends to tackle the photos, but never gets it done and keeps procrastinating. And the overwhelm increases, just like the number of photos taken. She just doesn't understand why she keeps procrastinating since her photos are important to her. So today, we will shed some light on what's behind procrastination.
Hi, and welcome to the DIY Photo Organising podcast, focusing on topics to help you with your photo management. I am Fiona from Counselling Memories.
And I'm Chantel from Photos in Order. Hello, Fiona.
Good day, good morning, good afternoon. No matter where we're listening, and for us, it's day. Hello to everyone else, and
That's
whatever
right.
time of the day it is for you.
So, it is about procrastination, one of our favorite topics today. But the
It's a
thing is, yeah,
mm.
everyone does it. That's why maybe it's so popular.
I know. And it's not a favorite as in we love it. It's a favorite because we know and have heard about it so much. It's
Mm.
just a reality. It's a reality, not in just this part of our life when we're organizing photos. It's a reality for a lot of people in a lot of different parts of their life. And
Mm.
so that's why today we really wanted to address it and just see if we could shed some light on this topic of
Yes.
procrastination. Mm.
And we'll dig deep.
Yes,
We
yes.
will look into why this is so hard and why we do it in the first place. And Fiona, you're our expert on that, and so you'll be doing a lot of talking today.
Yeah, which
So
is, yes.
why don't we share by sharing when it comes to photo organizing, why people procrastinate so much?
Yeah, look, there's a few reasons why, and I think what's important to understand is that you may fit into this when you're listening. You may fit into this and see yourself in some of these situations, and it might really resonate with you. And on one level or more than one category. But I think it's important for us to be able to just break down a little bit about why we do procrastinate and why you might be in that situation. So, when it comes to our photos, there's one of the reasons that this might be happening for you is that you've got too many decisions to make about what your projects are, too many decisions about where to start, too many photos, too many steps. So, this feeling of overwhelm is a really big contributing factor when we're looking at why people procrastinate. So, having too much information, our brain doesn't know what to do, and it literally just stops. And
Mm.
it just is in a freeze state. It just really doesn't know what to do next. Um, but that's a really big reason why people do procrastinate. And you would have seen this too, Chantel, when we have these things in our own work and our own projects where we really do feel that there's just too much to make decisions and that um that's a way of us to just sort of shut down and stop because we think we might make the wrong decisions or we don't know where to start. And so this sort of overwhelm of volume of information to process um,
Mm,
is one definite reason why we procrastinate. So that's the first one. We're
mm-hmm,
overwhelmed with
mm,
too many decisions and things like that. Another
mm,
issue that people can have, and you might be listening, thinking of this in your situation, is really a fear of doing something wrong, and so that stops you from moving forward. So that's the case in all of our different areas of projects. So that comes to obviously our photos are so precious,
mm.
and it's understandable that we have an area of fear when it comes to moving forward. And that fear comes with if I don't get the right system set up, if I delete something I didn't want to, if I accidentally, this fear is based on a future um, anxiety. Really, it's a fear of something happening in the future.
Mm-hmm.
So that can be something that holds us back.
Which is really interesting because when I think back to what we described about Sally, she has lost photos, but she still hasn't got a backup system. It's like being frozen, even having gone through that loss and
Yeah.
knowing exactly what is necessary to do, at least in theory, it's still
Mm.
like frozen, like, and that's where, the fear of doing it wrong. Well, which backup system do I use and whatever? And it's so strong that she still doesn't action it. So
Yeah.
it's quite amazing,
And it could be mixed up with that overwhelm of too many decisions on which
yeah.
software to use. And while it feels like there's a polarity, this sort of two things can exist at the same time. I can feel that my photos are very valuable,
Mm-hmm.
and I can also be doing nothing about it. It doesn't mean because I'm doing nothing about it that they're not valuable, though. That's really important. I really want to hope that if you're listening, that you can hear that because we might doubt ourselves. Oh, I
Mm-hmm.
haven't done anything. And therefore, are they really, we start to question
Uh-huh.
ourselves. But there's some deeper reasons why we procrastinate and we can't, and we feel frozen in a situation like that. So it is really important to if you're hearing yourself in those words and that does resonate with you, just sit tight because we will go through some of these and hopefully that will just allow you to breathe, going, oh, okay, I thought my photos are important. And yes, they are. I just don't know what to do. I'm, fear of doing something wrong and some of these other ones that we'll talk through that might be where you're at.
Mm.
Mm.
So
So the
what
next one,
else? Yeah.
yeah. So another reason why we might be procrastinating too is the emotional weight of our photos, and this is a really big one, one that I especially have been very interested in my studies. And now continue on to further studies actually because it's such a big part the photos as a trigger of memory
Mm-hmm.
and that in those memories we hold a lot of grief, a lot of missed opportunities in life, disappointment, a lot of joy, so many memories. And so the idea, and this is something I really want to talk about, and we can go into this even more, Chantel, another time perhaps, but just briefly, just want to talk about um, when we're aware of a memory being a trigger. And then sometimes we're not aware, but the trigger's still happening. So it's almost like what we would call autopilot, or another term people might use is muscle memory, where,
Right.
where we do something out of habit and we're not even really aware that we're doing it.
Mm.
So, this emotional weight of our photos can be a part of the reason why we procrastinate because even just knowing that they're in the cupboard walking past them and feeling that sigh of, oh, I
Mm-hmm.
still haven't done anything. And we know that there's something in there that we're just not ready to address or face or come to terms with or sort through in any visual way to deal with those
Mm-hmm.
memories. And so this emotional weight that is sort of surrounding our photos, digital and printed. It lives within our body, and it's a very much a something that we might really not even be consciously aware of that happens, but
Mm-hmm.
it is a big part of a reason why people can procrastinate about their photos. Yeah,
Mm. It's interesting. Yeah,
it
it can,
is.
yeah, subconscious even. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Um, Another reason is that we might feel like we just want to get it all right. The perfectionism part of it, I won't start until I've got a full week. I'm going to take a whole full week off and I'm going to have everything all sorted and organized, ready to go. And then I'll do my organizing. And we procrastinate until that perfect timing, the perfect photo book design comes up, the perfect, you know what I mean? Yeah. Have
I
you
know
been
very well
accused
what
of
you mean.
that? Yes.
I've heard the
We can
term,
relate.
I've heard people say that they are a recovering perfectionist.
Mm,
Yeah, I wouldn't put it that way, but yeah, I'm known for being perfectionistic, but yeah, I've come a long
mm.
way. It is, it is, yeah, it's hard if you are like that and want to things to be perfect. It is hard to let go
Mm.
of that and to unlearn that.
It
But
is.
it's
It is.
possible. If I can say so myself, I think, I'm still aiming for excellency in what I do, but
Mm,
yeah, not perfectionism because it doesn't even exist in the first place. And I
true.
had to learn done is better than perfect.
Mm.
Mm.
And look, I think it's a really important way to be able to help move through the procrastination in that way. But I just want to say that if this is something that you're listening and you really do resonate with this, again, there is actually an underlying reason why we do that. And so um, some of these things I think are really important to address because the word perfectionism is another whole, podcast we can go into as far as the, that whole sort of concept and what that means. But I think it's important to understand that getting it right is something that we may have learned when we were very young, that that's what we do. And that might be, so there's a lot more to that concept of I need to get it right or I want to get it perfect and right.
Hmm.
Um, and I think it's a great step to be able to get to a point to say, getting it done is what I'm going for,
Mm.
getting something completed. So yeah,
Mm.
so perfectionism, and another one I would just want to talk to before I go into some of these reasons why. Another thing I just want to say is a lack of clarity is also a reason why we can procrastinate, and so that could be lack of clarity about our goals of why we're doing what we're doing. It can be a lack of clarity about decisions to make over the best use of which way, if I'm going to use AI in
Mm.
something, if I'm going to use, which system I'm going to actually, software I'm going to use, just a one decision. And lack of clarity in that one decision can be our undoing.
Mm. Mm.
Um, and then that does stem back into sometimes a range of not having information or being feeling like we're going to fail or a whole range of different reasons behind it. But one of the
Mm.
things I thought I might do is just sort of explain this idea that when someone procrastinates, there is there is a reason for it, and that reason is more of a protective reason of ourself and our whole system,
Mm-hmm.
emotional state. Um, and it's not one of laziness. And so I sort of alluded to that before, but I really want to leave our listeners with this episode understanding that and maybe just inviting you to explore a little bit about what that might be for you. Become a little
Mm-hmm.
bit curious about what some of your sort of next level down reasons might be for that um, action of procrastination. It's funny to say an action of procrastination because usually procrastination means not taking action, but not taking action is actually an action within itself. I'm choosing to not do anything. That's my
Mm.
action.
So it's like an
So
avoidance.
it is,
Yeah, yeah.
yes, it's an active step to not engage. Yeah.
Mm,
So it's
mm,
another way to look at it. That might be new for someone to think, oh, okay, I'm gonna have to play around with that one. But yeah, no, procrastination is still an action of not moving forward. So um and some of the reasons why I'm saying that it's a protective response for your system. Now, it could be as simple as um, I opening up my photo library on my phone and I see that there's a scroll of images, of screenshots, of file data images. I've got something of a can of tomatoes here that I thought I had to buy down the shop, and it's just like, oh no, my mind has gone, let's just make a cup of tea. I'll just close that down.
Yeah, it goes into
um,
too hard basket, hey?
it's in the
Mm,
too hard basket.
mm,
It's like, not today. I'm going to do anything else except open that back up again.
mm,
And it just, I know that's a lighthearted way of looking at it, but really, it literally is.
mm.
I'd prefer to do anything else other than doing this. It's just, it's just decision overload. Yeah, decision
Yes,
overload. So
yes.
not lazy, not um not caring for our
Yeah.
photos, right? I really want to make that point out of today. But the truth is, there's other reasons. So on a more sort of compassionate side of this, and a reason why that might be, um, is that you do know that there's photos in
Mm,
there that can stir up some difficult emotions for you. And so our way of doing that is our body's way of coping with that is to just gently say, not today.
okay.
I I'm not safe within my body. I'm not feeling safe to deal with a difficult emotion.
Mm,
And that's what I'm saying, why this is not a conscious thing. This is not something I would say in my mind like a self-talk. I don't want to deal with this emotion. It's just our body saying, oh, I can't do it.
mm, okay.
And so we close that down, or we go on to another project that is I just one day, yes, I know they're there. I know those photos are in that box. I know they're there. Another time,
Mm.
when I have that magical software that's going to do it all for me, then I'll do it. When I find the perfect um, person that's going to just say, do this, do this, do this, then I'll maybe look at them. And so we just keep putting it off.
Mm,
Yeah.
mm.
And so,
Even though like consciously we are saying they are important, but
yes,
we still put it off. Yes.
yeah. And
Yeah.
and so from a clinical point of view, or a more sort of professional point of view, um, when our photos hold sort of grief
Mm-hmm.
and trauma, that avoiding is a coping mechanism to help keep our body in that in a stable, regulated
Mm-hmm.
sort of a state. So we all or some of us would be aware of when our body goes into a heightened, more activated sort of, I've got to act quickly, and there's this fear instantly driving us, and we may then go out and buy a hard drive, and then we plug it in, and we just copy, and we just do another backup copy, and we've gone into that sort of active, feared state
Mm,
that we need to take some action immediately, and we do something. And that's okay.
mm,
It's okay to do that because at least we've got something done.
mm,
And so, but when we get into the now calmer state of, all right, I'm going to plan out my actual organizing process. And so it takes then a more conscious decision to actually see or decide what to do with those emotions that are in those photos. And so that's where
mm,
we can get frozen and stuck because our body's not able to do that. So that's where I would say get some support, get some
mm,
support to do that.
mm,
Get some support either in the processing, practical application of the processing of the organizing of the photos, or get some therapeutic support
mm,
in the actual dealing with and managing and going through that to unlock and heal and have some strategies for yourself that's relevant to your situation to
mhm.
be able to then move through that procrastination stage into the outcome you're after. And I'm not saying that it might need like a full um, healing necessary, and the coming to terms with and the different stages of the processing of the deepest emotions in those photos, but to a level where you're able to achieve the outcome that you're after, which might be to sort through the photos to give them to other members
Mm.
of the family. That might be the processing or the processing of the project. I'm not saying processing of those, the deeper health
Right, yeah. And
emotion, the
and
processing. Yeah,
that's something you could obviously help with.
I
And
can. Yes.
also, I wanted to ask, so we've been talking a lot about photos that might trigger not happy memories, but they triggers for, trauma and more like the sadder or badder things in life.
Yeah.
But that's not always the case. So when
Mm.
we think back to our mom, Sally, she might not have trauma. It's more like, busy, busy life. And I know time is an issue, but if something is really, really important, we usually find the time, we make the time. But that
Mm.
sounds so easy, and we know it's not. So,
And
yes,
that's
where
where we
does
come back to some of
the,
these, yeah, that's where it comes back to some
yeah,
of these other things that we were talking about before. So that overwhelm of
mm,
decisions.
yes,
And so we were talking just then about the emotional weight
mm-hmm,
of those photos, but
yes,
before we were talking about the overwhelms or even the fear of doing it wrong
mm,
or the lack of clarity. So in Sally's case, there might be a number of those that
yes,
would
yeah,
be impacting her
mm,
procrastinating, even though her photos are so valuable.
mm. So
But
it's not always one reason only. Would you say that normally it's probably multiple reasons?
yeah, I
Yeah.
would say there's usually one or two in there that would
Mm,
be contributing to procrastinating. But what we do is we fall into this range of a belief about ourselves as to why. Oh, and we go to say
mm,
something. I'm always like this. I never get to complete things. I always, and we have a bit of a
mm,
little bit of a self-talk
mm-hmm,
process.
mm-hmm,
And so hopefully this is giving a bit of a background as to inviting you to be curious about what it might actually be underlying, so that it relieves a bit of that pressure from
Mm-hmm.
yourself, and steps you towards breaking through that
Mm-hmm.
into the actions that are needed to get the job done that you want to do. And as we know, in a photo organizing project, depending on what that project is, it could be a whole range of different things. And so, from our five golden rules, that could be anything from, backing up our photos to organizing our photos to
Mm-hmm.
creating something. So, when you start to, so my invitation today really is to be curious.
Mm-hmm.
Be curious about the underlying reasons why, and just start to think about it, because we will be covering more about this. I think it's a really important topic, Chantel, isn't it, that you and I were
Yes.
talking about?
Mm-hmm.
And it's something that is really near and dear to my heart, about looking at some of these more emotional based, memory based um, reasons around our photos of why we do what we do, and also why it stops us doing what's
Mm-hmm.
important.
Mm.
Yeah.
So, before we move on in this episode, can we just maybe quickly repeat um, those reasons why people procrastinate that we just mentioned? So, we were talking about overwhelm, like generally, too many decisions, too many photos, too many steps, mm, not enough time, whatever. Then the fear of doing it wrong, we talked about. And then we spent some time on the emotional weight. So when photos trigger memories, whether they positive or negative memories. And also perfectionism is, of course, a big reason why people procrastinate. And lastly, we talked about the lack of clarity. That could be if we're not sure where we're actually going with this, or not
Mhm.
knowing the best system, things like that. That's just, some of the possible whys. There are probably lots more, but we don't have time
Mm.
for that. But they would be the most common one, I think.
Yes,
Is that fair to
yes,
say? Yeah,
definitely.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Yes. And we
And
actually did, sorry, we
yeah,
actually
yep.
did a survey a while back, and we did ask people about what they're procrastinating about and why they procrastinate about. So this is a mix of what came out then and obviously, Fiona's knowledge. So yeah.
Exactly. And we can definitely, if you head over to the website, we've got, and we'll put a link in the show notes, we've actually got a free e-guide there. So hopefully, that might be something that could be helpful for you as well on procrastination.
Mm,
And the biggest thing I really want to leave everyone with is that it's not a sign of something that you're doing wrong. It's definitely something underneath. And so if you're having feelings or comments to yourself from a lack, I am, this, because I'm not moving forward, then let's just reframe that, because there really is a reason. There
mm,
is a reason. And I absolutely support you in finding out what your reason is. Because when you can unlock these little clues, it's so freeing for someone to
mm,
go, oh, okay, so then I'm going to move forward in this direction. And it just unlocks that, the mystery, really. And so procrastination is, yeah, just get really curious. Think of it as a puzzle you're going to solve about yourself, because
mm,
there is a little key to unlocking that for you, and starting with getting curious as to what it is that is, the reason behind it for you. can really help you move forward. Yeah.
Hmm.
So,
Good.
on that note, well, something else that we really were excited about sharing because we've been working a little bit behind the scenes on something, haven't we, Chantal?
We have. We've been working hard. So, do you want to share the news?
Oh, okay, all right. I was going to say we can both talk at the same time, but I'm sure our listeners would be like,
Yeah,
just
no.
one of you, please. So we are excited to announce that we have been working hard on a course. We are doing a course on the 5 golden rules of photo organizing. It's going to be launching in the new year. So early in the new year. So
Mm,
we in future episodes and in our newsletter and things like this, you'll definitely hear more about it. But today we did just want to at least let you know that we have more coming, and it's going to be really fun. It's just been such a joy to do this with you, Chantel. So yeah, so if you're interested, just to stay connected with us, there's a link on our website, and it says to subscribe to our podcast to get releases of new episodes and new content from us. So yeah, just make sure you jump on or in the show notes or on the website, and
mm.
yeah, you can subscribe so you don't miss out on hearing more about that from us.
Yes, wonderful. Oh, it's so exciting. And it's not far away.
That's it.
Oh, it's incredible how fast that year went. But yeah, not
Mm.
let's not go there. But so look, I think we've covered it for today. And as you said, Fiona, before, we invite you to think about that why you might be procrastinating and dig a bit deeper. And if you wanted help with that, Fiona is always there. And as always, we've got all the links in the show notes. You can get in touch with her and also download the free e-guide about how to stop procrastinating about your photos. You might already have that if you've been a regular listener. It's not the first time we mentioned that. And of course, there's heaps and heaps of older episodes that you can go back to and check out what we've got there. But yeah, for now, I think that's pretty much it. These are a few tips, with things that can also support you in your photo organizing journey. And we will talk about knowing why we procrastinate is one thing, but that's not the solution yet. So what's the next step? What can we actually do about it and move forward? So we will talk about that. So stay tuned. And it was lovely to have you here today. And I'm Chantal from Photos in Order. Thank you, Fiona, so much for sharing all your wisdom. That was really, really interesting. And I will be doing some thinking about the why myself because
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
no different. I'm a photo organizer, but sometimes it still happens.
Yes,
Yes,
it does.
yes.
It does. Yeah.
So
Thanks so
thank
much,
you.
Chantel. Yeah, you're welcome. That's good. And thanks for listening. We look forward to connecting again, tuning in soon. I'm Fiona from Counseling Memories, and thanks again, and happy photo organizing. We'll talk soon.
Bye.
Bye.